Hello Gemini, how are you? Welcome to your December 2017 reading. Thank you so much for being here. So excited to have you. I'm back in the States for the holidays, visiting my mother in my grandfather's hobby shop. As you can see, all the little airplanes and things behind me, but excited to be home nonetheless. Okay, so Gemini, you have some pretty serious stuff going on, and I think it shows up in your reading. Okay, so I just did your reading. I like to do the intuitive stuff first. We have this major Saturn transit according to Western astrology, where Saturn is moving from Sagittarius into Capricorn, which is the ruler of your 8th house. Okay, let me get my notes here. This is a big deal. It's a very heavy influence coming into a very heavy house. Now, you, Gemini, being so free and so fun and so amenable to change, being a mutable sign, this transit could pose some roadblocks for you, and it's going to be happening over the next couple years, okay? So just be prepared that the world and life's forces are going to push you. Now, I think you're going to be a little bit of a highlight for me in my tarot readings this year, because this is so potent. And you are going to experience this, like the world forcing you in one direction, and yet you are going to resist. Now, it's easier to just let the world wash over you and to let these changes happen. But for some reason, this is a very stubborn and a very stuck placement. Okay, the 8th house is normally ruled by Scorpio, which is a fixed sign. Doesn't like change. All right, Saturn can be great. It's important for you to remain optimistic, and it's important for you to shed the excess of your life. Okay, so it's a big deal. We'll keep talking about it. I'm sure it's going to come up over and over. On a lighter note, we have Venus entering Sagittarius. There's a lot of focus on Sagittarius, losing Saturn. We've got a Mercury retrograde in there, which I'll talk about in just a second. But Venus entering the 7th house for you is going to have a focus on relationships, okay? So your focus on your connections with other people. There's a light-heartedness about Venus in this placement, in my opinion. There's a little less seriousness, and I think that for you and your sense of adventure is going to really enjoy it this month. So enjoy it, okay? Take advantage of it. We have a Mercury retrograde, though, that can act as a little bit of an opposition or an opposing force, which can cause communication breakdowns or misunderstandings. So just be cognizant of how clearly you are communicating with your partner. And if there are miscommunications, to not get so worked up about it. It's okay. It will pass, and things will shift and change as we move into the new year, okay? So I will leave you with that. I'm going to be introducing a new deck as well that I designed. You'll see it when I begin the reading. Not that the light's going to work with me here, but that's fine. And I'll leave you with that. Thanks so much. Hello Gemini, how are you? Welcome to your December 2017 reading. Thank you so much for being here. I am using a new deck this month. It's called my Bali edition. It's a deck that I designed just using images from my time that I spent in Bali this year. And it's not for sale. It's just something that I made kind of just for me, but it's kind of a one-of-a-kind type of thing. So, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and get started. I've already been shuffling, preparing the deck for your reading. So let's begin. Gemini, 5 of Swords. You know, I just had a difficult reading for Taurus. I suspect that I don't know, but coming out 5 of Swords, it's already kind of a difficult tone. Now, the 5 of Swords is a card that represents like a battle that we can't really win. You know, we can try to argue our points, we can try to get other people to see it our way, but at the end of the day, excuse me, at the end of the day, does it really matter? And sometimes we find ourselves fighting battles that we just can't win, and it's best to just walk away. Now, I chose police, right? I chose the authorities because, you know, sometimes it feels like we're like fighting a system that is so huge that our power is so minuscule. It just feels that way. It's swords, it's our mind, it's our illusions, right? And so ask yourself if it's worth it. Is it worth it? Because sometimes it's worth it to walk away. It's more worth it to walk away. And so you might be kind of in that weird place where like you're still trying and you're still putting in effort and emphasis into trying to get something to happen, or to get someone to think about it the way you do or whatever. And it's kind of falling flat. It's not happening the way you would like it to happen. Two of Wands is a card of visualization. You know, it's kind of like a blank slate, or clear skies, blue skies, clear waves. It's time to just start thinking about possibilities. Now, you may have been doing that, right? Two of Swords kind of coming in this position tells me that it's something that you've already been doing. You've already spent the time and the energy and the effort to think about what you want your world to be. Who do you want to be in your world? How do you want this to happen? How do you want to go about doing this? It's a transitory card. It does represent transition, you know, but it's mostly in the mind. And I tell people when I get a Two of Wands to dream big. You know, dream big. Because it's kind of like that cheesy anecdote, you know, if you shoot for the stars, you might just get to the moon kind of thing, you know. So I feel that that applies here for you. And the Two of Pentacles. Oh, this is the first time this card has come out. Sometimes we wear too many masks. Sometimes we carry too much. Sometimes we have too much going on. I always say that the Two of Pentacles requires acknowledgement of artificiality and superficiality in our lives. It requires us to look and analyze what is needed and what is not needed. With this Saturn transit, it makes perfect sense. What is dead weight? What is excess? What can we get rid of? Because you don't have time to deal with all of the extra stuff that life throws at you that is not geared toward that ultimate goal. You know, the definition of focus, part of the definition of focus requires, you know, saying no to opportunities with high potential. Saying no to things. No, I don't want to hang out with you. No, I don't want to volunteer. No, I don't want to go out and, you know, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't, you know, and it's not to say that you're, you know, turning people down or whatever, but with this Five of Swords, there's obviously something that's not serving. And it's time for you to recognize what that is and to put the burden down. You know, I chose a picture of a scooter with like huge amounts of trash. And like there's also some like landscaping stuff happening here. And it's like, how can you drive your scooter and maintain balance when you have such an overload of stuff? Reduce it down. Only take what's necessary. It's safer. Like, it's safer. And the Five of Cups. This is a card of sorrow, a card of loss, a card of sadness. Something needs to be let go. And I'm going to probably keep saying it throughout the reading. But there's such a sharp focus on what was lost, or a fear of losing, that you don't see what you gain. I'm sensing the word freedom and also the word liberation. That you must free yourself from some type of burden. but it is the act of liberation that is causing you so much stress. Is someone dependent on you? Are you afraid of hurting someone else? Are you afraid of looking like the bad guy? You know, whatever it is. 5 of Cups can be a brutal place to be, you know. You've got 2 5s here. It's time to align yourself with your core values and your core belief system. What do you really truly believe? And how are your circumstances not serving you? Because I'm sensing that they're not serving you. Something is out of alignment here. It's not in line with this ideal world. Now, we can't be living in an ideal world, right? That's the nature of being a human being. It just doesn't happen like that. But you can create a more simple life. And you know, why am I so adamant about this idea of simplicity? Well, because, you know, that's kind of that Zen concept, or that more Buddhist concept, is keeping your life simple, keeping your life uncomplicated, and not adding on additional unnecessary stressors, right? And 5 of Cups, look, sometimes we must go through sadness in order to find happiness. And true happiness is found in equilibrium. Interesting, we're getting 2 2s and 2 5s coming out in pairs. Each suit being represented here. We've got Swords, Wands, Pentacles, and Cups. Interesting. And now we have the Knight of Pentacles. He's been kind of causing some disturbance. He came out, I believe, in either the Sagittarian reading or the Capricorn. I forget which one, doesn't matter. Aquarius, one of those 3. And he's been a little bit problematic, you know, because I'm not sensing that it's you, but rather someone that likely could be causing some, you know, some of this imbalance, or, you know, and I'm not saying they're not a good person. I do believe that they genuinely want to be a part of your life. I believe they care about you and that they are geared toward making the situation better. They really do want to make it better, but just because they, you know, that's more for their satisfaction, their own personal sense of having perfection in their life. Now, Knight of Pentacles is the card of Virgo. Now, I'm not saying you're dealing with a Virgo, but it brings forth those Virgoan themes like perfection, and a lot of self-effacing criticism. And they can be very negative toward themselves and project a lot of those insecurities onto you. Are they a dead weight? Do you guys need a new start? Do you need a new beginning? You know? I don't know. There is a level of artificiality with this person. There can be joy with them, but I'm not really getting the best vibes because of the surrounding cards. Now we also have the Fool, right? A new beginning, a sense of freedom and liberation. And it's weird that the 5 of Swords is blocking, right? It's kind of this barrier. It's like either them or the Fool. The Fool is this like breaking free and look, running so diligently and just like going towards whatever it is you're going towards because you want it so much, you know? And I think there is something in your life that you want, but there is baggage. There is something holding you back. Now, I'm not saying you have to break up with this person or you have to completely sever ties, but their needs, now this will be dependent on the situation, but their needs are not more important than yours. Plain and simple. Their needs is not more important than yours. I believe you are craving this freedom. See, this is a Plutonian energy. This card, the Fool, is associated with Pluto. And not the breakdown or the death part of Pluto, but the rebirth part of Pluto. The emergence of the phoenix from the ashes. And I believe you have that drive to emerge, but something is suppressing you. Five of Swords. Something is pushing you down. And let's see what else comes out. Seven of Pentacles. Oh, I often see this card as being a lot of hard work. And it's often a lot of work that just kind of keeps coming up over and over and over. And it's time to really ask yourself, are you getting your return on that investment? Like, I have a picture of a woman taking out the trash. Now, the trash needs to be taken out every single day, right? And I'm not saying it doesn't need to be done, and I'm not saying that it's not a good thing, because it is. But is there a better way? Is there more? Is there possibility of more? You know, can life have more purpose, kind of thing? Now, I'm not, this isn't a cultural thing, guys. I'm just saying. The essence and the meaning of the Seven of Pentacles is you've invested so much, you've continued to do your part, but yet there is some sense of dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction with that person, or with that process, or with that whatever in your life. And now it's like, okay, what do I need in this life? Let's begin to shed the artificial layers and get down to brass tacks. What is real? And again, I do feel maybe even a sense of guilt with you. Guilt that maybe you want this? Are you guilty for wanting something? Do you feel ashamed? Do you feel like you will lose because you have invested so much? You know? Okay. And the Ten of Wands and Judgment. Ten of Wands is a card of oppression. Look, I don't like to see a Gemini feeling pinned down. Oh my gosh, like, is there any more of a nightmare for a Gemini to feel confined, to feel trapped, and to feel burdened? I mean, I have an interesting relationship with Gemini. I always have. But I will say that I mean, qualities about Gemini that are so special and unique, especially their buoyancy. You know, their ability to just bubble back up. And they can be deeply committed and they can be deeply in love, but it never really takes away from their true essence. I would say that Geminis are a sign that tend to inspire people. You know, you prod people's belief systems, you prod people's knowledge. You not only, you know, gather and are a collector of information, but you also disperse as well. You are happy to talk, you are happy to educate, you are happy to be in people's lives. And that's an admirable quality that a lot of people don't have. So when you are feeling burdened, when you are feeling weighed down, there's no way that you can be who you really are. And now we have Judgment. Okay, this is a Uranian energy. It's very forceful. It comes in and it switches people's, like, the gears of people's lives. It's powerful. It's a major arcana. Okay, and Judgment, and I chose kind of like a more, you know, kind of ominous type of thing, because I do feel that it is somewhat ominous, right? Because once you say the words, or once you know the information, or the other person knows the information, or whatever it is, Once that happens, there's no turning back. This is such a definitive moment in people's lives, such a definitive energy. And there's really no escaping it. Like in, you know, there's no escaping that moment where this information comes out. But it's always meant to get your life back to equilibrium, because this is very out of balance. You're very out of balance right now. Two of Pentacles. You're trying to keep it going, but eventually this is going to tip over. Right? There's no way that this can be sustained. And so you're going to need to unload before it's too late. Now I'm just going to pull out some extra cards just to give us more context. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so weird. Here's the Tower. And I was just saying, like, if you resist this and you keep going with this, you're going to hit a tower. And it's going to be like, boom, you know, that inevitability, your life is now different kind of thing. It is not always bad. It's always for the best, you know. And I pointed this out in another reading. Yes, there's this gray, ominous, concrete mass that's like deep, dark, and depressive. But not only do we have this little yellow umbrella, but we have beautiful blue skies as well. So there's not, this forceful type of energy doesn't have to be bad. It feels difficult when the time is there, but it always is a point of something beautiful. Okay, but you can avoid the Tower if you just let this out, if you make that change, if you practice good judgment. And the Eight of Wands, swift change. I mean, does it get any more cohesive than this? The Tower and the Eight of Wands both indicate swift movement, swift changes, getting from point A to point B very, very quickly. So there's no doubt in my mind that change is happening, that this particular situation will become a different situation, like it's going to morph into something else. It's just a matter of how, and it's a matter of when. Sometimes it's better for you to have control over it and for you to just take the bull by the horns and make something happen, because if you avoid it, it's going to happen anyway. Okay? It just is. That's just how it works. And the Magician, a card of self-mastery, a card of making things happen. All right, this is a card, again, of Mercury, which is your ruling planet. And it's about taking the tools that are laid out in front of you and making something happen. So for you, now I just did a reading for Taurus and I was like, you guys, there's nothing you can do. You just got to go with the flow. But you guys are completely opposite. You need to make something happen. You need to put effort into something. You are the ones now that need to really hunker down and do the dirty work, because if not, the dirty work is going to be done for you and it's not going to be pretty. Okay, so now is an opportunity for you to practice, for you to become greater self-masters, if you will. All right, so I will leave you guys with that. I wish you nothing but the best this month. I really, really do. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next month. Bye.